Pardon the buzzing you may hear in the background. That's my air dryer. It's time to retire this thing. Haven't used it in ages. I started to disassemble it before, and I can't complain. It worked at the time, but I want to make something better using a little heavier rails. I haven't figured out if I'm actually going to use these rails or not. So it's a set screw here, but there doesn't appear to be any place to inject grease or oil into them. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but this thing's got to go. There we go. That one's freed. And save the thingamajig. Guess I ought to move all of this stuff out of the way. That was kind of neat. These steppers came with DB9 connectors on them. I think they're DB9s, that's what I remember. Yep, DB9 connectors on them. Makes it easy to wire. That popping around, and that's pretty worn out. I'm going to go cut it off. Be back in a minute. Just ground it off so that the rounded part was missing, or is gone. There we go. Now that's loosening up. See if that motor will pull out. There we go. We saved that motor for some future project. Alright, that thing can basically go. I'll probably save the linear rails and the ball screws for some future project, and I'll probably never use them. Wind up being one more thing taking up space on the shelf in my shop. That was the spindle mount I made for that Bosch Colt router you saw me take off the table a minute ago. I probably shouldn't even use this cart for the new machine, but a friend of mine gave it to me, and I have a hard time throwing it away. And I think it's a good place to kind of lay out the machine, and if I don't like it, I can always make a new cart or a new stand for it. Probably go with a cart, because I won't use this type of machine very much, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. those are the linear rails I have. Yeehaw. Now I guess the thing to do is to see if anybody's got any tips on how to lubricate these linear bearings. And start measuring the linear bearings and laying out a framework. I think the first thing to do is 2 side pieces for these to mount on. I've got plenty of aluminum bar stock to use, as you can see over here. There we go. I don't promise we'll have a perfect view on this whole job, but we'll give it a shot. Sorry about that air compressor noise. I wasn't going to stop working just because it was a little loud. Anyway, it looks like this Starrett micrometer, which I've never calibrated by the way, is measuring about 1/1000th over at 1 inch. Of course, that doesn't mean that this 1 inch gauge block isn't off. But let's check it with my El Cheapo micrometer. I know, there's a procedure to calibrate those Starrett micrometers. Just like there's a procedure to calibrate these El Cheapo Chinese no-name micrometers, which I think I have calibrated this one once, although I haven't in a long time. Interesting. It looks like this 1 inch gauge block may be off by 1/1000th of an inch, and it's cool in the shop. That's not metal growth. Alright, let me put that away. I'm going to cut everything to fit anyway, test fit as I go, but I'm going to assume that this Starrett micrometer is accurate for now. Take a couple measurements off the width of this. Excuse me. Darn wood dust. The quality and accuracy of this machine is not super critical, as I don't engage in the business of .758. We'll probably mount one end, indicate it, and mount the other end, and then indicate it along the way. I don't know, we'll worry about that when we get to it. Let me go put these away until I need them again. Alright, I guess I need the screw dimensions for the screw spacing. I don't know how to do that except with a tape measure. Let me correct that. I had bought a special vernier once upon a time for measuring hole centers. That's close to 3 inches from the end, and that's close to 7 7/8 from the end. Wonder if I have a metric tape measure around somewhere just to be safe. Because these are Chinese rails, I'm sure that they were metric. Alrighty then. This is actually a replacement gauge for a table saw or something like that. Okay, oh, I am confused. Not the first time, right? It is not an exact clean dimension to the end. It's neither 3 inches, it's actually a little less than 3 inches, nor is it 75 millimeter, it's about 74 millimeter. So maybe we'll cut a track to set those in and then just freehand, I don't know. Worry about that when I get to it. I'm gonna see if these are the same. They should be, because they're all the same size rail, just different lengths. Alright, I'm going to assume roughly 50 centimeters on center for now. And don't worry about me mixing up my imperial and metric dimensions, or standard inch, as one guy insisted on saying, and metric dimensions. The factor between the two, between millimeters and inches, is 25.4. Between centimeters and inches is 2.54. That's the factor for the divisor, depending on which way you're going. And I'm used to using both measurements all the time because I get customers send me projects in either and occasionally in both. So I'm used to doing conversions, and I can always just set it up in CAD. All right. I think probably the base legs come first. You know, horizontals for the long axis go first. Here and here. So I'm going to make it a little longer. I think I'm just going to make it the length of the rail. I'm going to make the rail a little longer, the frame rail a little longer than the linear rail. So let's go with about 35 inches. That leaves a little bit on each side of the base, and like I said, if I wind up not liking this base, I can always make a new stand.